What's up, Duke fans? We're here with another special episode. I got my guy Sion James here, the fellow elder statesman on the team this year, and one of the most unselfish winners, glue guys, who was a tremendous piece of our team this year and a huge reason for our success. One of the best portal additions, definitely at Duke, but maybe in college basketball, who's now entering a next chapter of his career as he tries to make his dreams go to the NBA come true. So excited to dive into recap of this year and what's next for you, Sion. So thank you for being here.
Always.
Obviously, it was tough ending of the year. I think we were all really hurting and still probably will be for a while, but there's no doubt it was an incredibly special season. Can you talk about what you think made this year and this team so unique and special?
I think it was just the guys we had on the team and the unselfishness that everyone plays with and then just kind of lives with. It's not often that you have a team as talented as ours with guys playing with as little egos as we played with and just generally playing the right way. And I think it was just how we kept everything light. Like we knew when to focus. Like we always had focus practices and everything. Yep. But we just joked around all the time. We hung out together off the floor. We just kept everything light. And like most players in general don't get to have an experience like this, and I'm glad that we did.
No, for sure. I think we're very lucky to have guys that could lock in when they needed to, but also just be college students at the same time. It's pretty rare. So, what do you think your some of your favorite moments are from this year? You can start with maybe like off the court, just being around these guys or at Duke this year. What were some of your favorite moments there, and then we can talk about games specifically after that.
Yeah, off the court. I mean, really, it's just the everydays, just hanging out with the guys that's in the dorms, just watching games, just doing whatever. Like those are the special things, and really the little moments that you don't really think about. I think about the times we spent out in K-ville with the students that were camping out. Like those are some incredible memories of just the amount of support that we get from around here.
Yeah.
Like it's really just the day-to-day stuff, the time in the ice bath when guys are joking around, and the amount of stupidness, man, that happens in there, just dumb stuff.
Sion and I would talk all the time about how the guys would like go back and forth over the same jokes or make fun of each other for the same things every single day, but they still it was the first time they were saying these jokes. Yeah,
every single time. It was like the very first time.
Yeah. But I think that's special though, that everyone just like genuinely really enjoyed being around each other. And, it was a very familial atmosphere for sure. Now going on the court, obviously we played some really big time games this year. What are some of your favorite wins? Maybe road games first, and then experience at Cameron.
Yeah, I mean road games, like winning on the road at Carolina, that was special.
Yeah.
Especially because what we had to go through to pull that one out.
For sure.
It was really just you got to lock in and figure it out kind of game.
Yeah. And
we were able to do that. And another one that was actually really fun on the road, Boston College. It was. I mean, we ended up winning pretty big.
But Cooper had the entire state of Maine there, I think.
Exactly. This was Isaiah's game where Isaiah was getting off, and we got a classic Isaiah Evans game with the celebrations and everything.
Yep.
And that was our first, if I remember correctly, that was the first time we really played a game that was, in my eyes, kind of like a handle business game.
Yep.
And we just went in and showed that we're as good as we thought we were.
Yeah, I think that was a good moment too, because I feel like they were playing pretty well during that game.
Yeah.
But then you would look up and we were still handling by, I don't know, we were up 15, 20 points, whatever. So I definitely think that was us taking care of business for sure. What about from your own personal performance in the regular season? We can get to the ACC tournament run in March Madness afterwards, but any games where you thought you really played the best? And I know you're going to be super humble here, but where you think you really it clicked for you?
I mean, there were a few where I felt like it clicked. Really, the games that I feel like it's clicking for me is where I'm doing a little bit of everything. So those are like the high assist, high rebound games usually. And then I think of games where I kind of get going early, like Carolina at home the first time. I was so nervous going into that game, but to get a dunk on the first possession took all the nerves away and allowed me to just play after that.
Yeah.
And there were a few games kind of like that throughout the year. I mean, I have to think about what some of them were, but it's really just those.
Yeah. Now getting to the ACC tournament, I feel like obviously we had some adversity with Malik and Coop going down in the first half of the first game, but guys really stepped up, showed the depth of our team. I feel like, in the ACC tournament and in March Madness, you were just so steady and so solid. So what do you think allows you in those big moments to show up like that? And I feel like every time in any of those games, second half of Louisville, we were down early on. Getting the March Madness, whenever there was other team was going on a run, I feel like it was always you that was making a big time shot to kind of like calm the nerves or stop another team's run. Can you talk about being ready for those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it's just experience. I've been in 100 some college basketball games at this point, and after a while, you just see a lot that there is to see. The big thing for me was just going in at halftime a lot of these times and realizing that I'm not playing the way I want to, we're not playing the way I want to, and it's not always about just making and missing shots. But there were games where I just felt like my personal mentality wasn't right. Like Louisville, for instance, the first half,
Right.
I felt like I was being soft. I felt like I wasn't going to the boards. I wasn't playing defense. I wasn't doing things I needed to do. So it was just taking that reset and not not letting it, not being upset by it. You know, like you mess up, that happens. Not a big deal. Just figure it out. The game's still going. You got 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my mentality in a lot of those games. And having the experience to see that was good for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about March Madness? What was that like for you, making a run to the Final Four? You had some big-time games. So talk about just that experience of finally being able to, make a run at the big dance.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was a dream come true. First of all, just being out on the court and seeing that big fat March Madness logo in the middle.
Yeah.
But it was different. Like that very first game, was at Mount St.
Huh?
That was one of the most nervous I've ever been for a game in my life. And it's a 116 game, a game that theoretically we're supposed to win really big, which we ended up doing.
Yep.
But I was so nervous. Like I'm dribbling, the ball didn't feel right. The ball felt funny, and I'm looking around. I'm like, there's people here, and of course we played with that many people all the time. But
Right, it's different.
it was just different. It was a different feel, a different buzz. But look, like we were able to settle in. I was able to settle in. And just remember, it's just a basketball game.
How do you work through those nerves? Like obviously they're leading up to the game, but is it one of those things where after a few possessions, once you start like getting into the game, that it goes away, or how do you? Obviously nerves are good. It means you're excited, you care about it, but how do you deal with those feelings?
Big thing for me is just like doing it however you feel. Like you're nervous, sure, that's fine. I can still perform no matter how I feel because of the work I put in, and just kind of reminding myself that it's exactly like you said. A few minutes into the game, I like to, like, whether I do something good or bad, right? Whether you score or you turn it over, you feel like you're into the game.
Yep.
So that's always huge for me. Just kind of getting a rhythm, getting that sweat going, and getting lost in the game a little bit.
Do you think that you've gotten better at dealing with that as you've gotten older in terms of like dealing with the nerves or understanding like you have to accept them, address those emotions, but then get into the game? Has it gotten easier over time?
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely gotten easier. The nerves haven't really gone away though, which I think is crazy. Like I always thought that I'd feel less nervous for a game as I got older, but it's like every single game you feel nervous at the beginning, the anxiety, the build up, but then once we get into the game, everything's just so smooth. And having that experience of knowing that the nerves will go away in 60 seconds into the game is a good feeling.
Yeah. Means you care though. Means you're alive.
Yeah.
Can you take us back to a year ago this time? You're trying to figure out where to go. I think we've talked a lot about, two of us, about your decision-making process. And it was kind of like go to the NBA draft, or Duke was really the only college team you were considering, if I'm correct. So what was going through your mind, and what ultimately led you to come to Duke instead of, going and playing pro or going somewhere else for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I always knew if I was going to come back to college, I wanted to go to the highest level. Like that was always my mentality. Like you said, I wasn't really trying to come back to school. Like I had the best 4 years of my life at Tulane, and it's funny saying this now because I had a successful grad transfer year. But like being a grad transfer is hard in general. You get 1 year to go somewhere, and
You feel like a freshman again, learning everything for the first time. Or whatever.
Exactly, you just got to go figure it out.
Yeah.
But what better place to go than Duke, where you've got 18-year-olds figuring it out in 1 year all the time. So that was a big part of it. And then really I just feel like I'd be able to develop more here as I got more and more feedback from the NBA. Just figured that another year would help me be in a better position.
Yeah, what was that feedback like the process of going through? I think you're doing some draft workouts and things like that. What were you hearing, and was there kind of not a moment where you're like, all right, this decision makes sense for me to go back to Duke? What was there a moment where it clicked for you, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, in terms of feedback, like I was hearing good stuff. There were teams that liked me, but the problem was that it wasn't enough teams that liked me at a high enough price.
Right.
So I would likely end up being at the high end, like a two-way player, which is cool. You get to but I'd rather come to Duke and
Mm-hmm.
get that same development and be a part of the Brotherhood and win a national championship. I mean, that was part of the goal. In terms of a moment when it clicked, I was actually here. I came to visit,
Mm-hmm.
and my whole portal thing happened really quickly. But I was here, and I still wasn't sure about whether I was going to do or come back or whatever. But there was a moment we were at Juju's actually for lunch that day, and I'm just looking around, and I'm like, maybe this wouldn't be the worst thing for me. Maybe I would like this could be incredible. This could be a really good move for me.
Yeah. Now, a year later, how did you feel about the decision? Obviously, probably pretty positive, but would you say it was what you expected?
I mean, it was better than I ever could have hoped, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten better here. I wanted to get better, but I think the part that I didn't value as much or didn't know as much was just how much fun it was going to be. Like whether or not this is one of those years, like whether or not we won a thing, I had the time of my life, and I would do it again 100 times out of 100.
Yeah.
So the fact that we won and got to the Final Four, and we had a chance to win a national championship, that only adds to it. But the fact that I just got to hang out with everyone every day, that was like that on its own made it worth it.
For sure. People always talk about like the recruiting process and what people don't think of, and something that I tell people is you spend more time with like your teammates and your coaching staff and your program than your own family or anyone else in your life for an extended period of time. So being able to just really have joy and fun around those people is like the most important thing, because you're going to spend so much time with them. And I feel like we all really enjoyed each other this year.
100%.
Yeah. Coach Shires talked about you being kind of the ultimate connector for our team this year. Your role varied from guarding the best player, multiple positions, to when we need you to come score or facilitate. It's like a lot to handle, right? I feel like you don't know from game to game what you're going to kind of have to be asked to do. How did you kind of balance these different roles? And then you talk about kind of the adjustment from playing in Tulane's system to now our team this year.
Well, first of all, I had to learn what a connector was. 'Cause Coach used to tell me that all the time, and I said, "Bro, what are you talking about?" Like, I'd never heard that term in my life. So that was the first part. But really, it's just been me like kind of doing what I do as a player. I've always been a versatile player who can do a lot of things on the floor and just kind of fill in the gaps where needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't look at it as anything different than like a shooter. You're a shooter. You come in to shoot the ball. Coach says, "All right, you're going to shoot the ball." It's the same kind of concept.
Mm-hmm.
Just be here and do what you do. And I try not to think about it too much because I'll get confused trying to figure out what a connector is. But instead, I just go play basketball.
Yeah, that's a great way. Let it come naturally. So my next question was going to be, did you kind of intentionally change your game a little bit to go from, being probably the best player at Tulane, scoring whatever they're relying on you for that, to basically doing whatever's asked, whether that's scoring one game or, focusing on rebounding another game. Were you like intentional this past off season or throughout the year about the work you were doing to kind of prepare for a new role, or were you just like, I'm going to get better on my game and be unselfish and whatever happens, I'll naturally fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my role, like the big picture role, is almost exactly the same as it was at Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
You got other guys on the floor who can handle the ball, so I'm not a full-time ball handler, but my job is to make shots or make open shots, get into the paint, finish in there, and make plays from there.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really changed was like the volume and the usage. Everything else is largely the same. Like sometimes I got to focus on getting other guys going or rebounding this game, or maybe you got to be more of a scorer. And that was a lot of the case here too. But the big picture role was the same. The only difference was the things within our offense. So at Tulane, I was there for 4 years. I knew the offense. We were in the offense we were in for 3 years. But point is, you know exactly what shots you're getting. You know exactly what to work on.
Right.
We used to run like blast action the entire time.
Right. So you could work on where you're going to get your shots from. And,
I know I'm coming off 8 dribble handoffs at the top of the key a game. I know team like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So here's a little different just because our offense is more free flowing.
So how did you go about then kind of learning a new system or playbook, whatever you want to call it? And then also I want to ask you, Sion's dedication to our scouting reports. I don't know if that was different for you in Tulane, but I feel like you were extremely locked in. He would be reading our scouting reports like right before tip-off when we're meeting in the locker room. I think you would read them on the bus to the game, if I'm correct as well.
Every once in a while.
Yeah. So just talk about, right, a few months to learn a whole new system. Obviously, a lot of our playing style here is more about reads and playing off of each other and not a lot of set plays, but how was that adjustment?
And it's fun. Honestly, I enjoyed it. Like learning to make reads, that's what makes a team. Because you can have as many talented players as you want, but like we go over stuff you can scout any play in the country. Like you can figure out how to scout a play.
Right.
What you can't figure out how to scout is guys that will make you pay for whatever you do defensively.
Yep.
And that's something that we really learned to do as a team. So it took me like into the season to really figure out what to work on a lot of times, like different passes, different shots, different all that kind of stuff. But that's just kind of stuff you figure out as you go. And then the scouting report piece, I just feel like that allows me to go out there and play freely. Like if I know what guys like to do, what their tendencies are, you can kind of learn a lot about guys' games by their percentages and what shots they like to take and all kinds of stuff. So that just give me that little extra edge that we need.
Yep. True student of the game. What do you think you improved most on at Duke? And obviously, your three-point shooting, has drastically increased since you started at Tulane all the way to this year. I think you shot like 41 or over 41% from three this year. Obviously you trust your work. You're very professional about your approach every day. So talk about what do you think you've improved on most, and then how your three-point shooting has really evolved through the start of your career.
Yeah, well, the three-point shooting, first of all, man, that's been a ride. Like I wish I came into college not being able to shoot, but I didn't really know that. Like I hadn't, like in high school, could do whatever I wanted and figure it out. Nobody's gonna I was one of the best players in the county, so nobody's player in the state. Nobody's saying, it's not really hearing much negative about my game.
Yep.
I get to college and dudes are guarding me at the free throw line. I said, "What the heck are y'all doing back there? Like, what are we?" But it took me months to figure out that something had to change about my game. So that summer after my freshman year, me and Coach Pardue, one of our assistants at Tulane, like we spent every single day. We spent like a week or two not even getting us that 3-point line, just changing my form, working on my shot, and just getting more and more confidence over the years. So I got however many 100,000 shots over the last few years.
Yep.
And now when I go out there, I just feel comfortable catching them and knocking them down. Yep. And then the thing that I've grown with the most this year, that for sure, shooting has been a big part of it. But I really think it's like my mental preparation, the discipline it takes to take care of my body every day, take care of my mind every day, go to sleep on time every night, like the little things that people don't think about, eat right, the discipline it takes to do those things consistently, even through the grind of a long season.
Yeah, how have you kind of developed that routine over time? I feel like I mentioned you're very professional in your approach. Like I don't know your schedule, day by day, but I feel like I know after practice this day, like I can look over and I know exactly you're going to be working on the same shots, whatever, but I feel like you really stick to what works for you. So how have you developed that over time, where I feel like certain days, you're working on your finishes these days, and then you have like you're shooting on the move the next day, and I know you're going to be in the ice tub no matter what after every game. You're going to be making your own lunch, and you're going to be having that before practice every day. How is that, journey of developing a routine, changed throughout your course of your college career?
These things they really add on over time. So the post-practice work is something I've been doing like since high school, since college. Like I really kind of all started for me my sophomore year, because that's when I started being the player I am today. And like I said, at that point we were working on my shot. So after practice every single day, I'm working on shooting, I'm working on the move, off the dribble, like a little bit of everything. I'm working on some finishing, working on taking care of my body. And those habits just kind of became more and more routine as we got here. So once I'm here, it's like kind of doing what I do. The ice bath, man, Jose got me with that one, I'll tell you that. When we first got here, I was very anti-ice bath, I'll be the first to tell you. I was like, just give me a bag of ice for my knees and we'll be good. But he was like, he challenged me. He's like, man, if it's going to help you even a little bit, right? So I'm like, I don't know whether I believe this is actually helping me or not.
But you're not going to say no to that. Yeah.
But like, if it'll give us a 1% better chance to win a national championship, or if it might be able to potentially like help me. Like, if nothing else, it's a discipline thing of I'll go get in the ice bath every day. And then the lunch thing, man, it's just it just makes it easier. I feel like a adult now, just making food, bringing
meal prepping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It simplifies the days a little bit.
Yeah. I thought your defense was phenomenal this year, but we talked a lot about how at Tulane you guys only played zone defense, which is pretty unique. So how is that transition coming to a place where we play all different kinds of man-to-man defense, which we can get into afterwards, but what was that transition like, going from playing zone and playing 40 minutes a game you always talked about to now you're chasing guys off ball screens and off-ball screens. So how was that adjustment?
It was fun learning something new. But I also realized that I wasn't in nearly as good a shape as I thought I was. Like, I was playing 40 minutes a game and I thought I could do it, but I realized it was because I could take a possession or two off on the defensive end with a little less movement. But it was really fun. Like it was sloppy at first for sure, just like the little intricacies of our defense, like gap positioning and
Right.
like fighting over. I never fought over a ball screen in my life,
Right.
you know.
But you became elite
I
at
mean,
that by the end of the year.
had to, like,
Yeah.
just had to figure it out. Defense is the way you get on the floor, right? And I
Yeah.
wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
So like those kind of things, it was really just the day to day working on it. The coach wouldn't let us not figure it out. Let's
Right.
put it that way. Like we were gonna work on this. We were gonna improve.
Yeah, I feel like you soaked it up so well, though. Like, your attention to detail with all it was incredible. Like, everyone talks about being in the gap with your hand out, and I would look at you sometimes during the games, and a lot of players sometimes they not get lazy, but as the possessions go on, you get tired, your hands start to drop, whatever. Like, I'd look at you, and you'd be in the perfect position in the gap with your hand there, and I was like, I think your commitment to buying into what you're taught, I think, is pretty unique.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Talking about Tulane playing only zone defense, I think I talked to you about my time at Stanford. We kind of would play one type of ball screen defense, for instance, the whole year. But I think what made our team so incredible defensively this year was we could literally change how we were guarding things within a game drastically. And you combine that with our commitment to playing hard every possession. I think that's what made us so good defensively. So what do you think that's like? Where we know when we're scouting a team, they're pretty much going to guard a ball screen majority of the time one way. But if you're trying to prepare for us, we can switch everything. We can not switch everything. We can drop, hard hedge, double team. So we'll talk about that.
I mean, I think first of all for the offense, I would hate having to scout that where you come off any ball screen, any point in time.
No idea what's going to happen.
Where you run any action. The one thing teams did know is that we were going to switch 1 through 4 on the ball. That's all they knew.
Right.
Outside of that,
No, yeah.
And not to mention if we bring the 5 up there, it's either Kaman, Patrick, or
Right.
or Malik. That's terrifying for a defense. So
For sure.
I'll first say that I'm glad I wasn't on the offense having to go against that.
Yeah.
But it's really, the cool thing is how a lot of the principles stay the same either way. When we switched a lot, that was really good for us. But fighting over ball screens, just the length that we had, I think an underrated is just the buy-in we had from everyone. So if you got 5 guys bought in on defense, I'm not going to be the guy that's not working my hardest and is not fighting through ball screens or making mistakes. I'm not going to be that guy. And I know that we got 4 other guys on the court who have the same mindset. I'm not going to be the one to mess up. I'm not going to be the one to let my guys down.
Yeah.
And we just were able to play together that way.
Yeah. I feel like everybody had that mindset, which is important. How about your leadership style this year? Obviously, I think you did a great job of pulling your different experiences for your 4 years into this group. And I think one of the words I would use to describe your leadership style is very savvy. You know when to speak up and get on guys, and also when to just lead by example and continue to be professional about yourself. So how did you use your experiences to help this group? And how would you go about learning when to speak up and maybe get on guys or motivate people versus I'm just going to go out there and play and set the standard for other guys?
It's kind of a feel thing, something I've developed over time. When I just think about the way that I like to learn from older guys when I was younger, it's not always I'm just kind of sitting back and soaking it up. It's not always something that they said to me that really stuck or anything like that. So I just want to be that steady force that that players can always look to see, kind of set the standard a little bit.
Yeah.
And then really when it comes to speaking up, it's just if you feel something's off, if you feel a guy's energy's off or mindset's not there, if we're just doing stuff that's just not us. I'm never going to be the guy that's just yapping the whole time. That's not necessarily me. But there's a time and a place for it, and I feel like that's something I've developed a pretty good feel for.
Yeah, definitely have, and helped our guys a lot. What advice would you have for, say, the next veteran player that's considering coming to Duke? I think you had such a maturity about you that you knew if I want to become an NBA player, trying to play with the best possible players in college and the role I would be in the NBA, that's going to prepare me for the next level. And where I think now, guys, sometimes people want to, chase the most money, which obviously there's nothing wrong with that, or try and score the most points. But I feel like you really were looking for the role, right? You wanted to play the role that you're going to try and play at the next level and prepare yourself for that, which I feel like that forward thinking, I think, is really going to pay off for you now, your next step. So talk about your, intentionality of trying to find that versus other things in the portal, and how you, you would advise in the next whatever potential Duke transfer who's a veteran to do the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in the portal, I had very specific things I was going for. I never really cared about going somewhere I could get off or be the guy or whatever that may be. Um, as much like I love my time at Tulane. Like I said, I'll be the first to say it, but we didn't win at the level that I wanted to. We never got to the tournament. We never got to play in the postseason, and that's something that was really important to me. Is just going somewhere where I'd really have a chance to win a national championship.
Yep.
I used to watch tournaments since I was a kid, and I wanted to be the guy, the player that's running through all that.
Yep.
And that's why you come here.
Yep.
I just think that there's just so much to it, and really, like, Duke is a special place. I've known that from the beginning. But I feel like we, as players, get better by being around other talented players.
Yep.
It forces you to up your level of intensity, up your level of play every single day. And my thing was, I wanted to be around that. I know the guys we have here, and I know the competition that's going to be here. I knew coming in that there was a chance that I didn't play at all. I played 10 minutes a game, whatever the case would be. But I wanted to challenge myself and really see where I was at, because, like you said, the decision was Duke or the NBA.
Yeah.
And if I really think I'm an NBA player, then I need to challenge myself against NBA players.
Yep.
And my mindset was that if I came here and I wasn't able to produce the way I wanted to or whatever, then I just wasn't good enough, and I wasn't ready for the NBA either way, and I would have some work to do. And that was fine. I was okay with that.
Yep.
But really, I just wanted to truly see where I was at, and there's no better way to see where you're at for the NBA than playing against NBA players while still in college. And I think it worked out really well for me.
No, that's phenomenal. I feel like not running from the grind, but betting on yourself and going all in. That's impressive, and it definitely paid off for you. So now, put us in your shoes. Like right now, season ends. Maybe take a couple days off your body. What are these next few weeks? April and May, and heading up to the draft look like in terms of your preparation? What's your plan?
So after the last game, I took 2 weeks off just to get off my legs,
Yep.
get my body recover. And now it's back to it. I was telling them before we started, man, I lifting yesterday and doing conditioning, getting back in shape, man. I almost passed out the first day back. But we're getting back in shape now. So now there'll be a little ramp-up period while I'm still here, finishing up school to start getting back in shape, weight room on the court. And then I'll go to Houston, where I do all my pre-draft training at.
Yep.
So once we start down there, it's shooting workout in the morning, lift after that, and then back for shots at night, pretty much 5 or 6 days a week.
Yep.
So really just getting back to the grind, getting better, getting in shape, because then the combine comes, you got to go compete against everyone.
Yep.
Plus team workouts start pretty soon after that.
Yep.
So it's really, for me, just getting back in shape and preparing my body and mind to go compete for what I want.
Yep. So what are you working on in these few weeks, and what do you want to show teams when you get to the combine and when you get to these draft workouts? What are you trying to highlight about your game?
And first and foremost is just being an athlete, being strong, being fast, being in shape. That's something that I feel like I can do naturally and just do at a really high level.
Yep.
And then the big thing I want to show teams is just the things that I do best.
Yep.
I want to finish at the paint with the best of them. I want to play making these workouts with the best of them. I want to make open shots and catch and shoots and everything I've been doing, like making threes and everything that I've worked on. I just want to do it at the highest level.
Yep.
The real goal for going into these next few weeks is depth. So becoming really, really, really good at the things that I'm already pretty good at, and then continuing to expand from there over the next months and years of my career.
Yep. I love it. Now, when you get to these pre-draft workouts, a lot of them have interviews, and I'm sure teams will ask you, like, if I draft Sion James, like, what type of guy am I going to get, or what type of player am I bringing into my team? So, what's your pitch, or what are you going to answer that question when decision makers ask you, what's Sion James bringing to the table for my team?
Yeah, just a winner, just someone who's about all the right stuff, and is about the stuff that makes teams good, in my opinion. Like, I feel like I do things that help highlight other players and help bring out the best in the people around me.
Yep.
And of course, there's all the on-court stuff, the shot making, passing, whatever. But I think that's the biggest thing that I'd want teams to know about. Just like, why Sion James?
Yeah, I can confirm that all those things are very much correct, and any team would be lucky to have you. last question before we wrap it up. What was it like working with Cooper and Con every day? You guys were kind of in a similar position group, so spent a lot of time together. I know you were Con's roommate on the road. So talk about being in the gym, iron sharpens iron with them every single day. And which one of those two is a guy to look out for next year in the next year's NBA season?
Man, it is awesome working with those guys. The amount of joy they have playing the game is something that always rubs off on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cooper, like obviously he's the best player in the country, but the amount of he just has fun with it out there.
Yes.
So that's a reminder to just like go enjoy what we're doing. Like as good as he is, he's taking it very, very seriously, but is also keeping it light.
Yeah.
And I think that's a special thing that I'm trying to take.
Yeah, it's like that joy of basketball you have when you're a little kid. Like Cooper still has it. Like when it's the first time he picked up a ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like that's a special thing. And then Con, working out with Con is great because he's every rep is full speed,
Yep.
and he's like super focused and super locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of challenges me to be at that same level right there with him. Like
Yep.
Con's a great shooter, so if I'm shooting with him, I'm not going to hold it back his shooting workout, right? I'm going to make shots too.
Right.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta beat him in Swish game.
man, Con beat the crap out of me in the Swish game last time. I still owe him a round, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
I think both of those guys are probably guys to look out for. They'll probably go pretty high.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're pretty good players
For sure.
on a lot of teams' draft radars.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They will do well for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Sion, I appreciate the time, and I think you have a very bright future, and your year here at Duke was incredible to witness, and I think more people should have your long-term mindset of trying to bet on yourself and go somewhere to play with the best. But I think the great things are on the horizon for you, and I'm excited to see what happens. So
Appreciate
thank you,
you,
man.
man. Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you,
bro.
Neal.
Of course.
My guy.